Welcome back to another episode of Prime Time. We're in the beautiful Melbourne. The weather's turned out for us. It's Australian Open week. How good is it?
On the road, I like Melbourne. Besides the weather, we're overcast all the time, raining here and there. But other than that, the Australian Open's a great event.
I like the podcasts on the road. Now, how you feeling about the Australian Open? Who you backing to win it? Also, Smokey to win it. I'm going Novak.
Novak all the way. I mean, look, Alcaraz is a terrific player. I just watched him yesterday pump some little Italian bloke, and he's a freak.
Looks good in the singlet.
Novak, when he turns it on, he's unbeatable. He's the Terminator. Even at 36 years of age, I still back him. I love him.
Yeah, we saw him beat Alexei Poprin. Hard to see the Aussie go, but he's head and shoulders above him.
What I don't understand is, why do Australians hate him for?
Novak?
Yeah.
They say he's got a sense of arrogance. Every old person you speak to, whether it's at Wimbledon or even here, they go, oh, he's a little bit arrogant for my liking, but then they realise that he's one of the best players in the world. You've got to appreciate him for while he's here.
But what I love to see is when you're out and about at the Australian Open is psycho Croatian and
Serbian fans.
Decked out in their country's gear, throwing up their signs saying "Ida Nole." They got no shame.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's go to the fan question for the week. Fan question is the UFC BMF title meaningless?
Yes, 100% it's meaningless. I mean, they introduced it with The Rock. That just shows you that it's meaningless. What the hell's he got to do with the UFC?
It's like the Intercontinental titles in WWE. It's like the US title. They're like placeholder champions for when they actually want to go for their division champions. The only thing I'll say is it's probably the highlight of the 300 cards so far. There's been big announcements, and Gaethje versus Max Holloway is probably the biggest card on the biggest draw on the fight.
Why I say it's meaningless is it's not assigned to a weight division. Anyone can fight for it, but really, do you say Justin Gaethje is the baddest guy in the UFC? I think you'd say probably many other fighters would be. If he's that bad, why isn't he the champion over Islam?
Well, really, would John Jones be the BMF in his prime?
That's
you know
what
what
I'm
I mean? Yeah, I agree what you're saying.
Pound for pound is 1,000 times more important than BMF. So really, what is BMF? You're not the baddest motherfucker if you're not the champion in your division. So it's a meaningless title.
Would it count as a double champ if you got a BMF and another title?
No.
Like, I don't think that would count either.
I'd say winning the BMF is like winning the in-season tournament for the NBA. It just doesn't make any sense. It's fake. No one cares about it, so why is it there? Get rid of it.
I think they'll get rid of it pretty soon, and they'll put more emphasis on sticking in their divisions. Everyone wants to go up a division, be a double champ, possibly a triple champ in some aspects. How about you just focus on being the king of your division and don't worry about these meaningless titles like the BMF?
And look, it was cute when Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal did it. That was pretty cool, okay? I'll give it for that one match only. Other than that, it's stupid. I can't even name who I think fought for it last time. Was it Poirier and Gaethje? Why are they the baddest guys in the UFC?
I don't know. It's something that I think the UFC will look at. Is it drawing? I mean, a BMF can't really headline, I don't think. Well, let's look at the NRL Rumor Roundup. We cover this throughout the whole off-season. This week's initial rumour came out of my good friend Zac Wolford, who we reconnected over some time. But Zac Wolford has requested an immediate release from the Canberra Raiders to go to the Dragons.
Well, I say this is on the back of executives seeing the clip of Zac Wolford embarrassing you in Canberra. And Zac Wolford said, you know what, my value's just risen 1,000%. Why should I be getting paid shit at Canberra?
This is what would have happened. He would have been promised a starting spot, the starting 9 at the Dragons with Ben Hunt going into 7. Even though Ben Hunt plays some of his best footy at 9, he's the best 9 when it comes to State of Origin. But they need him at 7. They need him directing. So they need a permanent hooker. So imagine that spine. You got Zac Wolford at dummy half, Flano, and then Ben Hunt. It makes sense. That's Shane Flanagan making moves, and I don't blame him. I would like to see him end up there and be a full-time 80-minute hooker, Zac Wolford.
Well, the thing is as well, we've been singing his praises since he was at Canterbury. We've been saying he should be starting at some point. Then he went back to Canberra.
But we got Reed Money now. I'm happy with Reed. I like Reed.
Very happy with Reed Money. He's one of the boys, basically a Lebanese person as well. But Zac Wolford goes back to Canberra, plays really well off the bench for a few games, then starts. I mean, who are Canberra going to put there? Is it something Starling at hooker? I'd take Zac Wolford right now. I think he's more athletic, more spark. Who else? What else do you want from your hooker?
That's the main rumour for the week. There's also been the rule change that's been instituted, and there's also been some comparisons to the AFL, but we'll get to that now. Let's go for an update on the Sean Strickland versus Duplesis beef. Now, this started with fireworks. They've been punching each other in the crowd. They've been going at each other's pasts in press conferences. Duplesis has been caught kissing his trainer, his brothers, his dad.
Which he says he's not gay.
Which he says he's not gay, he loves his family, whatever it is. Sean Strickland, on the other hand, he's been copping it for his child abuse and his dad belting him. It's kind of struck a nerve. He's been crying on podcasts. We haven't seen this Sean Strickland before. They get into fight week. They're in Toronto. Very different Sean Strickland, hasn't it been?
No, definitely. I mean, everyone thinks Sean Strickland. I mean, besides the press conference where he absolutely rinsed this Canadian reporter, he's been pretty much the same Sean Strickland. It's just in exchange with Drakis now, he's a bit more tame because he knows that if Drakis wants to go there and talk about his childhood, he can't win. That's it. He's admitted defeat.
You've seen him on the embedded. He's gone up to Drakis. He's shaking his hand. He goes, says hello to his missus as well. It's very nice. It's very friendly. They obviously do respect each other. Drakis then came out and said in the press conference that they also exchanged a message over Instagram. And it was very cordial. So, hey, I respect you, Sean Strickland said to him. But if you mention my father again, I will kill you. He mentioned the words, I will kill you. Now, Drakis has responded and said, listen, you can say whatever you want to me. It's not going to hurt me, which is kind of weird. Why have you stopped then going at his dad? You obviously were either not afraid that he would kill you, but it must just be a mutual respect thing. I don't know. It's different. I prefer the fireworks.
I think it's stupid to do this before the fight. Make peace after the fight. You're actually ruining pay-per-view buys because now everyone thinks there's less animosity between the two of you. And really, is Sean Strickland as psycho now when he goes in the ring?
Ask you, would you rather a Colby Covington situation where someone takes it extremely too far, or would you rather than be respectful before the fight and leave it all out in the octagon?
Personally, I'd say too far.
I'd say too far. It sells.
Well, I think, did Dana White say before the Colby fight that after the comments, pay-per-views risen?
Skyrocketed.
What was it?
It was like a
So,
straight line.
As a businessman, I'm talking strictly business. Go as far as you want, just as long as you're maybe able to cop the bashing that you might receive if you take it too far.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, it's the headline fight. It's co-main evented by the females fight. Sean Strickland let the reporters know what he thought on women's MMA as well during the press conference this week. But yeah, look, I don't know. I prefer fireworks. I want it to light up, but it seems like they've been pretty respectful. They've met each other's partners. What's your prediction for the fight going in? Because it is this Sunday.
Look, I was a big Sean Strickland's a bit overrated. But Drakis Duplesis hasn't really, I think, fought in a 5-round fight. I don't think he's got the cardio if it goes past round 3. And Sean Strickland, in a striking battle, I think he's better than DDP. So I'll take Sean Strickland by maybe 4th round TKO.
Well, Israel Adesanya has come out and said he takes Drakis Duplesis by submission
throughout
the fight.
He's a hater.
So he doesn't want to see Sean Strickland win. I think that will be the catalyst for Izzy to come back in and face Drakis Duplesis. But I'm going to go Strickland too. He's going to surprise a lot of people. He's in the best shape of his life. He says he's the best striker in the MMA, so I guess we'll see how that ends up. But I'm going Sean Strickland.
If you're the UFC...
Decision. Sean Strickland decision.
If you're the UFC, who do you want to win? Because they say Dana sometimes gets a bit offside with what Sean says, but he's fireworks.
I would say, look, Drakis headlining this against someone else doesn't sell as much as it sells with Sean now. It's not going to be the biggest pay-per-view, especially Jan, first one off the rank for the year. But Sean Strickland sells. You get him in front of a mic. He's gone viral 3 times this week already. He bought a knife this week. He ripped some Canadian beta male reporter. And anything he says just resonates online, and he's selling fights. I don't think Dana's complaining about that. Now, let's move over to the NBA. Josh Giddy.
He's innocent.
He's found innocent. Well, look, the police say he will have to answer to no charges. He will not be getting charged for his relationship with a younger woman. Okay? But the NBA says they're going to conduct an investigation into this, their own internal investigation. Is Josh Giddy getting a pass? Because some people online have been saying if it was another colour, this could have gone another way.
Look, I understand that sentiment, especially because Jon-Bernard got suspended for a third of the season for flashing a gun.
For a toy gun.
So, look, Josh Giddy, I'm going to say he's innocent, and especially because he hasn't been proven guilty, so you can't suspend him. Just because they were wrong on Jon-Bernard doesn't mean they should be wrong on Josh Giddy.
Well, when it happened for instances like Kobe, he played for his freedom.
Yeah.
Josh Giddy has been performing that well, like up to his standards. He has been getting the same amount of minutes for the Thunder. I don't know how it's looking, but in saying that, innocent till proven guilty. You have to maintain that standard. Did he do anything wrong, Josh Giddy? I'm saying no. The police aren't pressing charges. The NBA should not do anything. He shouldn't serve any suspension. He didn't bring the game into disrepute.
Well, he kind of did.
No, I'm saying he didn't know he was doing anything wrong. If he's not charged, then what has he done wrong?
Look, the stupid thing is there's way too many rumours out there. No one actually knows what's happened. Did he actually have a relationship with a minor or not? No one actually knows the girl's age.
Yeah, she was younger. She was in high school.
But I'm saying if he's 19 and 17,
it was all over. She was on TikTok. She was bragging about it over TikToks. But if she's not upfront and honest about her age. I'm sorry, it's not.
That's not the law.
That's not the law. Okay, well, he
don't break the law.
He's not breaking the law. They're not pressing any charges. If she's obviously purposefully admitted her age, or if she's genuinely lied about her age, then he hasn't done anything wrong in my eyes. Just maybe focus more on the basketball. I like Josh Giddey. He's putting it on for the Aussies.
I mean, the NBA turned the blind eye to Karl Malone. Karl Malone walked so Josh Giddey could run. So let Josh Giddey run and let him play some basketball. The only thing is now, the NBA has just launched a formal investigation into it. So if the police didn't find anything, what are the NBA going to do? Are they better than the police?
Well, that's why I think they want to institute a Jon-Bernard type 10-game suspension or something like that, just to say, yes, we did reprimand him. But I just think if you do that, it's wrong. And if I'm Josh Giddey, I'm fighting it. You're innocent until proven guilty. He has no charges to answer for.
Is Adam Silver and the NBA Mafia a better investigator than the police?
No.
How can they be?
They're not.
So you shouldn't find anything, so drop it. That's all I'm saying. Consistency is key.
I like it. Now, going over to football, soccer, Jose Mourinho getting let go from Roma.
The special one is a free agent. Where will he go next? I don't know. It's sad to see him leave Roma.
Premier League. Get back to the Premier League.
Well, that's the thing. Rumours are swirling now. He's a free agent. There's so many clubs that want him. Chelsea are putting their hands up because they've been struggling. Man United, a team that he was formerly at as well. Yes, they ended on pretty shit terms before, but Eric Ten Hag is a terrible manager.
And they need
Jose
some help.
Mourinho, from what he said back in 2018 when he was the manager, it's all gotten worse since then. So if he does come back and reunite with them and makes them a top 4 team, a Premier League, winner, it's a perfect ending to his career, I'd say, as a manager.
Come back to the Premier League, have a fairy tale finish, and it'll be in a Netflix documentary.
Well, there's a multiple clubs that might sign him. Barcelona's might put their hand up with their team just getting pumped by Real Madrid. I think Brazil as a national team, I think maybe not in the immediate future, but down the line for the potential next World Cup. Who knows, he might go there. He can speak Portuguese, so it'd be a nice little handy tool to have in coaching Brazil. But leaving Roma, look, they made the Europa League final last year. They got robbed in the final. They've got a poor start this year. Just shows you in soccer, if you don't win games, you're not going to last, no matter how good of a manager you are.
It's almost as cutthroat as the NFL. NFL, you lose 2 games in a row, they're calling for you to get sacked. College football, you lose 1 game, they're calling for you to get sacked. Football, if you're not performing as a manager and the team's not performing, you're gone by the end of the year.
And it's unfair as well because Roma, they're not a big money spender. They don't have the budgets that, big European clubs have. So if he has a bad patch of form, I'm sure you could look past it for the, long-term potential of what he could do for your club. But I just hope he doesn't go to Saudi Arabia. Please don't go coaching Saudi Arabia. It's a waste of your talents.
I don't think Saudi are after managers.
No, big name managers.
Surely.
Yeah, it just draws attention. It draws so much attention.
You want the players. The players are the ones that are bringing in the money, they're bringing in the jersey sales, bringing in the tickets.
Well,
what's a manager? You're telling me I'm going to go to a Saudi game to watch Jose Mourinho on the sideline bark instructions? Come on, man. That's stupid.
Well, I'm saying players are now leaving Saudi Arabia. Karim Benzema wants out. Jordan Henderson just left. Saudi Arabia doesn't look like it's all that right now.
No, well, it's hard to maintain. Plus, they get lonely over there. You know what I mean? In the Middle Eastern heat. But I'd love to check it out. Now, let's move over to our player head-to-head. We do this in every sport across, rugby league, AFL, tennis now, okay? Player head-to-head, Novak Djokovic versus Carlos Alcaraz.
Well, let's look at the ages. Novak is 36. Carlos Alcaraz is 20. World ranking, Novak's number 1. Alcaraz is number 2. You look at their head-to-head record. They've played each other 5 times.
Novak's won 3 times. Alcaraz has won 2 times.
But what's key is it's 1-1 on clay, and on hard court, which is the Australian Open, Novak's 2-0.
Look, right now, it's a tale of the old veteran, the old bull, and the young cat, Carlos Alcaraz. He's playing with his singlet off. He's got his biceps out. He's killing everyone in front of him. It's a pleasure to watch him play. But when you're talking about Grand Slams, 24 Grand Slams for Novak.
2 for Alcaraz. But he's still very young. He's only 20.
He's 20 years old. The kid's born in 2003. It's actually... to look at what he's achieved at that age, it makes me think, what the fuck are we doing? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
But looking ahead, it's going to be the likely Australian Open final, Alcaraz versus Djokovic. Who do you have winning?
I've got to go Novak. I just think the guy's still in his prime. He's even come out and said the performances he's had so far aren't up to his best. He's not at his best form, and he's just getting into the swing of it in these early rounds. Come semi-finals, finals, you won't be able to stop him. And just based on their past form, I know it's 3-2. I'm leaning more towards Novak.
The only thing is with Alcaraz, he's got the power to overcome Novak. Novak is someone that just always returns, always plays every point. Alcaraz actually just puts you out of your misery and just cancels you out of the play. But I think age and experience is a factor here. And Novak's going for number 11 in terms of Oz Open Grand Slams. So it's his favourite place to play. He's not going to lose here. Rod Laver, he doesn't lose. And Alcaraz, your time will come. Just not going to be this year.
We said that at Wimbledon, and then he lost to Alcaraz. So, I mean, anything can happen. I'm not going to count the young Spanish bull out, but I'm going Novak for the 11th. I think Novak gets it done.
Well, Novak lost Novak lost a set in the first 2 rounds of Oz Open. Last time that happened, he didn't drop a set for the rest of the tournament. So that could happen again. That's all I'm saying.
I guess we'll wait and see, but let's go Novak for the 11th. Carlos, runner-up. They're still getting unbelievable amounts of prize money. 3.15 million for the Shan Open. That's crazy. That's crazy. But let's go to even more tennis. Make sure you check out our top 5s every week. They're on our YouTube at Kairouz Bros. This week's top 5 is top 5 tennis players of all time. Starting with number 5.
Pete Sampras, a 14-time Grand Slam winner, the greatest American tennis player of all time. I think before the big 3 of Rafa, Nadal and Federer, he was known as the greatest tennis player of all time and someone that had a Grand Slam that was going to be unachievable. And then on top of that, if you look at his record as number 1, 6 consecutive years as number 1 world ranked. That's hasn't been matched since by the big 3. So if you look at an individual player, he's definitely top 5 of all time.
Number 4, we're going with Rod Laver. Now, Rod Laver, Aussie, got a court named after him, got an arena named after him, Rod Laver Arena. 11 Grand Slams.
Rod Laver's the only person to complete a calendar Grand Slam. That's winning every Grand Slam in the calendar year. And then also, if you look back in the 60s, pre-Open era, the Rod Laver Cup, the United Cup, was a much more important thing. It was on the level of a Grand Slam, and he won multiple.
Look, it's a bit before our time. We've had to go watch highlights of old Rod. But you got to respect the guys in the era that laid the platform for the current greats, which are number 3.
And if he were, just on Rod Laver, if he were to play in today's game, would he keep up? You never know, but you just got to acknowledge the achievements that he had in that time. Most career titles of all time as well. Number 3 is Rafael Nadal, the Spaniard, 22-time Grand Slam winner, 14 on clay, so it's a bit overrated. But if you look at, in comparison to the other 2, he's got a winning record against Roger Federer, and he's got the most wins against Novak Djokovic. If you discount the way he abuses the game, he abuses the rules.
He's a time cheat.
And the way he obviously is a king on clay, he doesn't really drop many sets on clay. Is he one of the greatest of all time? Yes. Is he the greatest? No. That's why he's number 3.
Number 2, we're going with Roger Federer. 20 Grand Slams, the tennis player's favourite player. This guy, for a period of time there, was the greatest of all time. Yes, injuries did hurt him in the back end, but again, 20 Grand Slams over his career, known as one of the greatest players of all time. Definitely my favourite player, one of the most humble. For me, he's a legend, and that's why he's number 2.
I think on the back end of his career, injuries did hurt him, but from that period of 2005 to 2009, he won nearly every Grand Slam. He was unstoppable. Only Nadal could compete with him.
237 consecutive weeks as world number 1.
And I don't think that'll ever be matched either. It's one of those unmatchable records. That period there, he's the greatest of all time, only surpassed by number 1, Novak Djokovic, 24-time Grand Slam winner, the Terminator. He has just entered an era of Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal and somehow surpassed them. I don't think you ever think it would happen. And he doesn't look like slowing down either. It's 24 Grand Slams and counting. And if you look at throughout tennis history, players that have competed at this high level for this long, it just never happens.
It's almost as if that year off with the flu just rejuvenated the back end of his career, and he's going to go on another 5-year run. I think he'll play till 40, and it will be seen like the LeBron James of basketball. It's something that no one's ever done before, and he's still been able to win at the top.
And sticking to the stats, 408 weeks as world number 1 and counting as well. I mean, it's going to go down as the greatest tennis player of all time. We think he already is. Novak number 1.
I love it. I like to see it. Now, let's go to our wrap-up segment. We usually do an international segment, but I don't really want to touch on politics. I mean, Donald Trump is surging. Last time we bet on Donald Trump, he is the favourite to win the US election.
He won Iowa by 30 points.
He won Iowa. He's leaps and bounds. I don't know if they'll let him get to the election, but in saying that, he's a heavy favourite. I'm not going to back it. I wouldn't recommend anyone else back it because who knows what they will do. But looking at the AFL, the only move that they've made in the off-season is playing games in country Victoria and changing the way, for some weird reason, that they show player profiles.
Yeah, they're now hiding player weight, saying it's a privacy issue. They don't want to display players' weight, which is really weird because...
Was anyone asking for this?
I mean, is any AFL player overweight either?
I mean, all shredded, running 30 kilometres a game.
I'm pretty sure Nick Dacos wouldn't weigh anything over 75 kilos. And if he does, it's all muscle. He's completely shredded. They're the cardio kings of Australia.
Are they scared that some AFL players are going to be bullied for being plus size? Is that what the issue is?
I don't know. It's a really, really weird rule change. And now people have asked the NRL, are you going to follow suit to the AFL and hide players' weight as a part of their privacy? And Andrew Abdo says, no, we're not considering
It's not on
this
the
at
radar
time.
right now. Maybe you could do it in the women's game if the women's are very worried about their weight. But listen, as junior players, you look up to the halfbacks, the hookers, even the front rowers to see how tall are they and what weight are they playing at? Where do I need to be? So if a young grassroots Aussie rules player wants to see what Nick Dacos is weighing at and how tall he is, that should be available information. Like, who actually really cares? All over the world, they do a combine. They check your weight, your height, how fast you can run. Why is this a big issue? The AFL's just virtue signaling right now. It's actually, the guy who's running it is being a bit of a flog. No one cares. Why are they doing this?
Well, especially like if I look at NRL players, if I see Junior Paulo take a hit up and I think, you know what, I can tackle him, then I Google his weight and I see that he's 110 kilos, maybe I question it. It's a part of the game. It's a part of the education of the game. And it's a part of the spectacle. So the AFL...
They just keep taking L's. They keep taking L's. They're losing out to NRL in Vegas. Yes, their crowd sizes are massive throughout the season, but this is just another L that they're taking.
I mean, I can't imagine anyone really thinking, fuck, that AFL player's a bit overweight. Let me check his weight. Yeah, you know what he is.
Yeah.
No one's ever had that thought ever. Maybe Ben Cousins after a bender, maybe he put on a bit of weight.
Maybe don't show their weight after they retire.
Yeah.
Okay, because they do tend to blow out, those AFL players. But that's all for Prime Time this week. These sharp episodes in the preseason leading up to a monster domestic Australian sporting season. But thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the Kairouz Bros on YouTube. That's all from us. Take it easy.